Well, I don't know what happened there, but to continue on, in Second Samuel, we have the account of after uh, Saul's death. And it's in chapter 1, starting at verse 1. After the death of Saul, David returned from his victory over the Amaleks and stayed in Ziklag 2 days. On the third day, a man came from the field of battle, one of Saul's people, with his garments torn and his head covered with dirt. Going to David, he fell to ground in homage. David asked him, "Where have you come from?" He replied, "From the Israelite camp I have escaped." "What happened?" David said. "Tell me." He answered that the soldiers had fled the battle, and many of them had fallen and were dead, and that Saul and his son Jonathan were dead. Then David listened to the youth, or said to the youth, "Oh, I'm doing well," who was reporting to him, "How do you know that Saul and his son Jonathan are dead?" The youth reported to him, replying, "I happened to find myself on Mount Gilboa, and saw Saul leaning on his spear, with chariots and horsemen closing in on him." You get the image from leaning on the spear. You know, the spear is going through him and he's leaning over it. It just didn't go all the way through yet. And he turned around and saw me and called to me. And when I said, "Here I am," he asked me, "Who are you?" And I replied, "An Amalek." Then he said to me, "Stand over me, please, and put me to death, for I am in great suffering, but still alive." So I stood over him and put him to death, for I knew that he could not survive his wound. I removed the crown from his head and the bracelet from his arm, and brought them here to my Lord. David seized his garments and tore them, and so did all the men who were with him. Just to make a notation about seizing ripping the garments, that is a Jewish expression of mourning, and it remains even to this day that they'll make a tear in a garment when somebody dies. They mourned and wept and fasted until evening for Saul and his son Jonathan, and for the people of the Lord and the house of Israel, because they had fallen by the sword. David said to the youth who had reported to him, "Where are you from?" He replied, "I am the son of a resident alien, and I'm a Amalekite." David said to him, "How is it you are not afraid to put forth your hand to desecrate the Lord's anointed?" David then called one of the attendants and said to him, "Come, strike him down." So he struck him, and he died. Don't mess with a king or any of God's anointed. Gee, a priest God's anointed, don't mess with me. Okay. David said to him, "Your blood is on your head, for you testified against yourself when you said, 'I put the Lord's anointed to death.'" Then it goes into his lament. Then David chanted this lament for Saul and his son Jonathan. He commanded that it be taught to the Judahites. It is recorded in the book of Jashir. "Alas, the glory of Israel, slain upon your heights. How can the warriors have fallen? Do not report it in Gath as the good news in the Ashkelon streets. Lest Philistine women rejoice, let the woman of the uncircumcised exult. O mountains of Gilboa, upon you be neither dew nor rain, nor surging from the deeps. Defiled there the warrior's shields, the shield of Saul, no longer anointed with oil. From the blood of the slain, from the bodies of the warriors, the bow of Jonathan did not turn back, nor the sword of Saul remain unstained. Saul and Jonathan, beloved and clear, separated neither in the life nor death, swifter than eagles, stronger than lions. Women of Israel, weep over Saul, who clothed you in scarlet and in finery, covered your clothing with ornaments of gold. How can the warriors have fallen in the thick of battle? Jonathan slain upon your heights. I grieve for you, Jonathan, my brother. Most dear have you been to me. more wondrous your love to me than the love of women. How can warriors have fallen? The weapons of war have perished. Oh, we have that lovely controversial verse about the love that they had. And it's kind of difficult for a lot of people to understand. Okay, the view of marriage is kind of like the view in the movie Fiddler on the Roof. People get married, it's arranged, they're put together, hope they can tolerate each other, and their job is to raise a family. So Tevye asks his wife, "Do you love me?" And then she goes through, "I clean your clothes, I do this, I give you children, everything else." And then she realizes that she does love him. And so love was a wonderful byproduct of a marriage, but not necessary for a marriage. Now, since most of the people here, and hopefully the people watching this, get the idea, there's a concept in the military of a battle buddy. Somebody, and I mean, it used to be only men were battle buddies to each other, but in today's army, a man and a woman, which causes a lot of problems. Let me tell you about it. Two women, I probably forgot some combination. So they put their lives into each other's hands in battle, and they trust that person with their lives, and a closeness develops. And that's why you get the concept of the band of brothers. It is a brotherly love that is between them, not a romantic love. And so Jonathan and David had this kind of love for each other. Notice both of them had wives and had children. This was a different kind of relationship. So that was related to their military experience and their concern for one another, because they had put up with a lot of things, especially because of Saul, and both of them were endangered by Saul. I mean, Saul got so mad that he threw a javelin at Jonathan and just missed him. He would have killed his own son. I mean, that says something strange about their relationship. Okay, so that brings us to the point now we're going to be talking about the kingship of David next time. I thank you for joining us. I want to remind you that there are chaplains here that are available. We have, let's see, Chaplain Toda, Chaplain Gildner, Chaplain Martin, Chaplain Jones, and even Chaplain Moy that are here at Perry Point. They are here for you. I am here for you. So if you have need of a chaplain, first of all, just let your unit administrator, your nurse know. And the first avenue that we take is the phone. And the second avenue we take is, the video conferencing. For Catholics, if you need a priest for a sacrament, that has to be approved by, if you're in, let me go back as in terms of the units. Chaplain, in alphabetical, Gildner is a chaplain for 22. You can see him directly face to face. Chaplain Martin Ojawan, who is the other Catholic chaplain, he is the chaplain for the Dom and for 364. And so there he can see people face to face. Chaplain Toda is the chaplain for 14. And I am the chaplain for 19 and 23. Those units, because of the veterans that are there, are not allowed face-to-face visits, except if the doctor says there is a need for a face-to-face visit. So if there is a need, a sacramental need in particular, talk to your medical people, and they will authorize a priestly visit. Now, getting on to this, if you have Bible questions, You know, you can reach me at Jonathan, Jonathan, Morse, at va.gov. You can reach me by phone at extension 25604. Feel free to call me with your questions. I know some people have, and I've incorporated those into the talks I've been given. And so I hope that you come again next week, and that you're getting something out of this week and all the previous weeks. And remember, if you've missed things, especially like the first part, which talks about the principles of Bible study, and then says we have to get the big picture view. We're in the big picture view now, going through the covenants. They can be found at FJM Ministries, MINISTRIES.org. So there's two M's, after the FJM and M in the beginning of this. And all of the previous lessons or talks, whatever you want to call them, can be found there under Catechetical Ministry. Once again, I thank you for being here, and I hope to see you again. May God bless you and keep you.